Welcome to the deep dive. This is episode hashtag 38 of D&D World Weavers with Alex and Jamie.
Great to be back.
Yeah, and today, wow, we're really taking a trip back to the roots of Dungeons and Dragons. We're looking at a module that, it really defined early adventures for so many players.
It really did, a foundational one.
Horror on the Hill, Module B5, came out in 1983, written by Douglas Niles. And this one, it just gives off those classic Stranger Things vibes, you know?
Oh, totally. That thrilling, slightly spooky, isolated feel.
Exactly. And it's perfect for new characters, people just starting out. So our mission today, basically, is to walk you, the listener, through this whole vintage adventure. We'll look at the mechanics, why it was important back then, and frankly, why it's still pretty cool today. And hey, if you want to follow along or check it out yourself, there's a PDF link down in the video description. We always try to pop a PDF link in there when we can find one so you can dive right in with us.
Yeah, definitely grab that if you can. And, it's a great choice for a deep dive. These basic game adventure modules from TSR, they were fundamental.
Right.
They weren't just adventures you bought. For a lot of people, this was their first D&D experience. Douglas Niles, Laurie Mann editing, and the art, Jim Rosloff on the cover, Jim Holloway inside. It just created this whole package.
Yeah, the art really sets a mood.
It does. And these early modules, they were really good at mixing familiar fantasy stuff with, well, surprisingly unique bits, things that really stuck with you. They definitely helped shape how a whole generation learned to play.
Okay, so let's set the scene. The adventure kicks off in this place called Guido's Fort. You got to picture this. It's an isolated frontier settlement, literally called the end of the Trader's Road, right on the banks of the River Shrill.
Yeah, it immediately gives you that feeling, doesn't it? Remote, maybe a little desperate. Like, this is the absolute edge of civilization.
Totally, the last light before you hit the big, scary wilderness.
And looming right across that river, which is described as a mile wide, by the way.
Oh, mile, wow.
Is the hill. And it's not just some generic hill. It's described as this shadowy, mysterious mountain 400 feet high. Its top is always kind of shrouded in fog. The slopes are thick woods, rocky cliffs.
Sounds ominous already.
But the real kicker, the detail that just makes it unsettling, are these weird gouts of steam that just rise up from the slope.
Steam. Like volcanic.
It hints at something unusual, yeah. Something geological, maybe magical, definitely dangerous. It's a visual that immediately tells you this place isn't normal.
And the people back in Guido's Fort, I bet they have stories.
Oh, absolutely. The module says it's full of tales of nameless terrors and ancient legend, and you hear these grim rumors about adventurers, brave and hardy types who went over there and were never heard from again. That phrase right there, it just nails the horror in the title. It's not just a challenge, it's a place people vanish.
Chilling. Okay, so from a game perspective, how does it set things up for the players?
Well, one of the really smart things is how it's explicitly designed for characters level 1 to 3.
Right. Perfect for beginners.
Exactly. It gives them a challenge, but it's, carefully balanced. And it gets pretty specific about the party. It suggests 5 to 10 players. Ideally, maybe 9 or 10 if they're all first level, or maybe just 5 if they're third level.
So it scales a bit.
Yeah, and it really stresses having a balanced group. You need at least 1 cleric, 1 magic user, 1 thief, and then a good chunk of fighters for the front line, just making sure you have the tools to handle the different kinds of problems you'll face.
That's practical advice. And it even helps out with rolling up characters, doesn't it? Which is nice for new players.
It does. It lets you roll initial hit points a few times to make sure you get a decent minimum. Or you can even use the pre-rolled characters right there on the module cover.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
And here's a classic DM trick it mentions. If your player group is too small or missing someone key, you can just use those pre-rolled guys as NPCs to fill the gaps. It's a nice, subtle way to balance things without the DM having to force players to pick certain classes.
Smart. Keeps the game flowing.
Exactly. And the module cleverly ties the frontier setting right into the local economy at Guido's Fort. It talks about hard times, which means basically everything costs more.
Inflation hits fantasy worlds too.
Pretty much. So new characters actually start with a bit more gold 4d6 instead of the usual 3d6 from the basic rules to kind of compensate.
Okay, that makes sense.
But buying gear isn't guaranteed. For any item you want, you roll a d4. Only on a 1 is it flat out unavailable. But if they do have it, the price is random. Roll 1d6. 1 or 2 is standard price, 3 or 4 is 150%, and 5 or 6 is double cost.
Wow, so gearing up could be really expensive and uncertain. Really drives home that frontier scarcity feel.
It really does. Every purchase feels like a bigger deal.
And just getting to the hill, that's not cheap either, is it?
Not at all. The ferry across that mile-wide river costs a whopping 20 gold pieces. And the reason given is specifically because the hill is so dangerous.
The ferryman knows the risks.
Oh, yeah. And the local fishermen. They are so utterly convinced adventurers are doomed that they flat out refuse to rent boats. They'll only sell you one for like 50 to 80 gold.
Ugh, that's brutal. Basically saying you're not coming back for it anyway, might as well buy it.
Pretty much. It's a great mood setter and a significant gold sink right at the start.
Right.
And it doesn't stop there. The module makes you think about getting back, too.
Logistics.
Right. If you don't buy a boat, you need another 20 gold for the return ferry, or you have to arrange a smoke signal pickup. This focus on planning, on the practicalities beyond just fighting monsters, that was a real hallmark of classic D&D.
It makes the world feel more real, more grounded. So, okay, the party's in Guido's fort. Try not to go broke buying rope. How do they find out what dangers actually await them on the hill?
It uses a classic rumor mill. You can hang out at the Lion's Den Inn, chat people up, and learn 2 rumors initially. You roll 2d8 on table 1, rumors at Guido's fort to see what you hear.
Okay, standard tavern gossip.
Yep. And then there's the old-timer. You can buy him cold beers, and for each beer, he'll spill another rumor until you've heard all 8. He might even repeat stuff you already know, which is kind of fun.
Gotta keep buying him drinks.
Yeah.
So, are these rumors reliable? That's always the question, isn't it?
Definitely not all of them, and that's the beauty of it for building suspense. The module tells the DM which ones are true and which are false.
Ah, okay. Give us some examples.
Sure. So the talk about a fire-breathing dragon, true. And the haunted graveyard, also true. That immediately ramps up the tension for the players.
Ooh, okay. Dragon and undead, got it.
But then you have false rumors like slave trading ogres or this idea of a huge orc army getting ready to attack Guido's fort. Those aren't true.
So it mixes truth and lies to keep you guessing.
Exactly. It creates uncertainty, makes players question everything they hear. They can't just charge in assuming they know exactly what's waiting. It keeps that mystery alive.
Very smart design. What about the actual monsters? Any early intel on what they'll face besides the dragon and ghouls?
It does give some initial hints. It mentions hobgoblins, and goblins are numerous, but generally cowardly, and their king isn't super powerful. That gives the players a little bit of confidence, maybe.
Manageable threats initially.
Right. But here's a really dynamic element. Monster garrisons, specifically ogres, hobgoblins, and goblins they can actually replenish. If the party clears out a spot after 3 days, new monsters might move in.
What? So you can't just clear it and forget it?
Nope. And there's even a 33% chance the new group is 50% larger than the first one. It makes the whole place feel alive, like it pushes back. It adds this urgency to dealing with strongholds properly.
That's surprisingly advanced for 1983. Feels like a living world. And there was some specific advice for the DM about wandering monsters too, wasn't there? Something about the design philosophy?
Yes, and this is really insightful. There's a rule of thumb in the module that says, wandering monsters are not designed to be the ultimate challenge.
Meaning?
Meaning the DM should actually ignore a wandering monster encounter if it looks like it would seriously deplete the party's strength.
Really? Just ignore the dice roll?
Yeah. It shows a clear focus back then on keeping the story moving, on maintaining a reasonable challenge curve, rather than just letting bad luck derail the whole adventure. The goal was fun and progression, not just random punishment. It's a philosophy a lot of DMs still think about today.
Okay, so the party has survived the economic hardships of Guido's fort, maybe gathered some questionable rumors, and they finally make it across the River Shrill. Now they're actually setting foot on the hill itself. What's the terrain like up close?
It's described as pretty challenging, mostly thick and tangled hardwood forest, oak and hickory mainly, and the ground is choked with dense and thorny underbrush.
Sounds like slow going.
Very slow. The trees are tall, 60 to 80 feet, so even climbing one doesn't give you much of a view unless you're already on a slope looking down. It's designed to feel dense, claustrophobic almost. Makes it easy to get lost, hard to see far ahead.
So how does that translate into movement? How fast can you actually travel?
The mechanics are specific here and force some choices. If you stick to the trails or existing clearings, you move at a decent pace, 300 feet per turn.
What?
But if you try to go cross-country through that dense underbrush, your speed plummets to just 75 feet per turn.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
And it gets worse. For every square of cross-country movement, the party has to spend the next 2 turns just resting.
Oof, so bushwhacking is really discouraged.
Heavily. It makes staying on the pads a major strategic decision. And even on those trails, they're narrow. You have to move in single file to keep up speed, though 2 people can fight side by side if needed. It really emphasizes the environment as an obstacle.
And what about cliffs? I bet those are a problem too.
Oh yeah. Climbing sheer cliffs is basically a job for the thief, using their climb sheer surfaces skill. If they fail and fall, it's 100d6 damage per 10 feet.
Ouch.
They do get a dexterity check to try and grab something on the way down, maybe mitigate it. You can use ropes for safe descent, but if the whole party uses 1 rope, you have to leave it behind.
Another resource management choice. Especially tough if rope was expensive back in town.
Exactly. Ties it all together.
And this dense, dangerous wilderness must be crawling with creatures. How do wandering monsters work on the surface?
The hill is definitely alive, and not in a friendly way. The DM checks for wandering monsters pretty frequently. Every 3 turns if the party's moving, every 6 turns if they're stopped. Roll a d6. A 1 means trouble.
Okay, so decent chance of running into something.
Yep. And there are separate tables for day and night encounters with different creatures. And here's a key thing. The module specifically says you might run into the same type of monster multiple times, even in one night.
So it's not just, okay, we killed the giant spiders, we're safe from spiders now.
Not at all. It gives this feeling of persistence, like the threats are constant. Even areas you thought were clear might suddenly have monsters again. It keeps the pressure on.
Man, relentless. Okay, so besides random encounters, what are some of the fixed locations, the really memorable spots on the surface?
Well, just getting across the river takes 6 turns. The first landing spots, clearings, #1 and #2, are noted for having difficult, dense underbrush right off the bat. Sets the tone.
Right, but then things get weirder.
Oh, yes. Like the killer beehive at area #4.
Killer bees, classic.
It's in this nice, pleasant, and flowery clearing. But if you listen closely, there's a 75% chance to notice you might hear this low buzzing.
A warning sign.
Exactly. If you ignore it or blunder in, they attack. And it's a phased attack, which is cool. 1 bee the first round, 3 the second, then the whole hive swarms you on the third, except for the queen bee.
The queen bee. Is she tougher?
Yeah, she's tougher and can sting multiple times, a real threat. But here's the neat twist. If you survive and raid the hive, the honey acts as a half-strength potion of healing. Cures 1d4 hit points.
Huh. A sweet reward for enduring 1,000 stings. That's actually pretty cool. What other unique spots are out there?
There's the Glade of the Magical Berries. That's #6. Sounds nice, right? Crystal clear pond. 3 weird bushes.
Okay, what's the catch?
The story is an old cleric spilled a healing potion there ages ago, and now the berries have healing powers. Each one cures a 1d4 damage, like the honey.
Another healing source. Handy.
Very handy, but temporary. They spoil within a day of being picked, so it's a quick boost, not something you can hoard. Smart balancing.
Clever. We also mentioned the steam earlier, the Cavern of the Bats, #8, and the Steam Weevils, #10, #15, seem tied to that.
Definitely. The Batcave itself has a hidden danger. #8B is stagnant water that requires a save versus poison, or you're immobilized for hours. Very nasty if you fail.
Yeah, being stuck like that is bad news.
And then you have the recurring steam weevil caverns. These directly link to the geothermal activity. The steam weevils themselves are unique monsters that deal burn damage. And the module even describes warning sounds, gurgling and hissing before the steam vents erupt, dealing 1d6 damage per round if you're caught in it. The environment itself is actively hostile.
Makes the hill feel like a character in itself. What about more traditional monster encounters, like the hobgoblin camp at #12?
Yep, that's a more standard D&D setup. A filthy, odorous camp with 12 hobgoblins. One of them has a magic sword, which is a nice little surprise.
A bit of unexpected treasure.
Right, and their tactics are interesting. If they lose morale and flee, they don't just scatter. They specifically try to run towards the ruined monastery to warn their king.
Ah, connecting the dots. Surface encounters leading deeper.
Exactly. It shows a cohesive structure. And the loot in their camp is pretty meager. Some gold, old clothes, cheap wine. It tells you these guys are low-level grunts, setting expectations for bigger threats later.
Okay, now, the encounter everyone remembers from this module. The clearing of the mysterious cottage, area #13, Rosabella and Rosalinda. This is a big one, right?
Oh, it's huge. Absolutely iconic. It perfectly captures that mix of mystery, charm, and serious danger. The cottage looks lovely, right? Whitewashed, bright green shutters, nice gardens.
Sounds idyllic. Too idyllic, maybe.
Way too idyllic. It's a permanent illusion hiding a much larger building. And the inhabitants, these Plump, gray-haired old ladies, Rosabella and Rosalinda, they are not what they seem.
Let me guess. Powerful magic users.
Bingo. Rosabella is a 5th-level cleric. Rosalinda is a 6th-level magic user. They have spells like Sleep, Fireball, Mirror Image, Cure Light Wounds, and magic items. A Ring of Protection +3, a Staff of Healing, and get this, a Wand of Paralyzation disguised as a rolling pin.
A rolling pin. That's brilliant. So attacking them is a bad idea.
Very bad idea. They're neutral, not evil, but if you attack, they will overpower the party efficiently, aiming not to kill, but to strip them of all coins and magic items. Then the party wakes up somewhere else hours later, broke and confused.
Ouch. Lesson learned. Don't judge a book or a plump old lady by its cover.
Precisely. And even if you somehow did overpower them, any gold or jewels you try to steal from their house just turns to dust. They're magically protected. It really hammers home that combat isn't the answer here.
So diplomacy is the way to go. Are they willing to talk or help?
Oh, they're willing to bargain. Their motto is literally nobody gets something for nothing. They're described as avaricious indeed. They love to trade info, healing, maybe even items, but always for a price.
Idling time.
Absolutely. They start high and expect you to negotiate. Like info on monsters or the ogre cave. They'll ask 100 gold, but settle for 40. Info on the monastery and dungeon. Starts at 150, down to 75. Interestingly, they don't know about the Red Dragon, which keeps the final boss a surprise.
Smart. And they offer a quest, too, right? Tied to healing.
They do. Rosabella offers to fully heal the party if they bring her the head of the male ogre from area #14, and she'll heal them again when they deliver it. It's a great way to link different encounters and give the party a clear objective.
Connects the surface level nicely. And there's a bigger deal they offer, too.
Yes, the long-term bargain. They offer 2 magic scrolls, 1 clerical, 1 magic user, and 2 potions. Invisibility and healing in exchange for any single item the party has acquired at the very end of the whole adventure.
Wow. That's a gamble. Trade future unknown treasure for guaranteed magic now.
It's a fantastic design choice. Makes players really think about value and commit to these potentially dangerous NPCs.
You really don't want to double-cross these sisters, I take it.
The module is crystal clear. The sisters are very earnest when making deals. Break a deal and, quote, a fireball spell might help them change their minds.
Message received. Don't mess with the magic grannies. Okay, moving on from them, what about the ogres they want the head from? The Cavern of the Ogres, #14.
Right, that's hidden at the base of a cliff. It's a whole family unit. Bullyish dad ogre, mom ogre, 2 young ogres, and 6 goblin slaves they keep penned up.
A charming household.
Quite. There's a playroom for the kids, goblin slave quarters where the goblins might shout for help, and the adult's bedroom. The real prize is the storage room. 750 gold, 1,000 silver, 4 gems, all in a locked chest. And the key is hidden in another chest. Classic D&D.
Gotta search everywhere. What about the Cavern of the Neanderthals at #16? That sounds different.
It is. It's a small tribe who don't speak common but use sign language. They're curious, potentially friendly if approached carefully. And the module notes they're enemies of the ogres.
Ah, potential allies. Another non-combat solution.
Exactly. Shows the variety of encounters. Not everything needs to be fought.
Then we get to the graveyard, #18. This sounds like it lives up to the horror name.
It really does. Described as an ancient burial site of chaotic monks and clerics, and there's this palpable blight of that evil around, the creepy detail. 1 out of every 3 graves has been dug up.
Ugh, grave robbers. Or something worse.
Something worse. Lurking nearby are 4 ghouls, ready to paralyze and devour anyone investigating the graves. It's pure classic horror imagery. Desecrated ground, undead. Really sets a mood of dread.
Definitely spooky.
Yeah.
And finally, a little foreshadowing, the Dragon's Escape Tunnel at #19.
Yeah, it's mentioned as this vegetation-choked cave that the Red Dragon, the big bad, uses to get in and out of its lair deep below. But the key thing is, the module says players have no chance to discover this cave from the surface.
So it's just for the DM's knowledge.
Exactly. It plants the seed of the dragon's existence without giving the players a shortcut or revealing too much too soon. Builds that anticipation for the final levels.
Okay, so we've braved the wilderness, maybe made a deal with some powerful sisters, avoided ghoul-infested graveyards. Now, the adventure takes us inside the ruined monastery. Sounds like a shift in environment.
A big shift. The outside is overgrown, reclaimed by nature, but it's clearly human-built. You see overturned pillars, vine-covered walls. But inside, the granite buildings are cleaner, suggesting someone or something is living here now, though doors are often stuck or locked.
So from wild nature to decaying structure, and I bet it has its own set of wandering monsters.
It definitely does, and they reflect the new environment. You've got rock baboons, ogres still, hobgoblins, dire wolves, but also zombies and giant centipedes. It's this mix of wilderness intrusion, humanoid occupation, and undead remnants. The place feels dangerous and contested.
Let's talk key spots inside. The huge pool, #21. Sounds big.
It is a dark green expanse of water, and it's weirdly warm, uncomfortably warm, the module says, fed by those same geothermal forces as the steam vents.
Ah, the steam again. Consistent theme. Is it guarded?
Oh yes. 12 skeletons are lurking in the water, and 8 giant centipedes are hidden in crevices around the edge. It's a layered encounter, undead and monstrous threats, tied to the environment.
Nasty surprise. What about the monastery tomb? #23. You mentioned a motif earlier.
Right. The leering face and grotesque torso design that was on a statue outside appears on the tomb doors here, too. It's a nice recurring visual linking things together. Inside, if you search carefully, there's a hidden dagger +2, a good magic item reward for being observant in a creepy place.
Encourages exploration. The tangled garden, #24, sounds rough. Is it just impassable?
For humans, mostly yes. Impenetrable due to thorns and overgrowth. But the goblins have been clever. They've carved hidden tunnels through it, perfectly masked.
Ambush central.
Exactly. As the party approaches the temple door, room #31, goblins can pop out for surprise attacks. One even has a shield +1, a little bonus loot. Really makes you watch your step, even in seemingly natural areas.
Good tactical challenge. What about the monastery kitchen, #28? Anything edible left?
Haha, probably not. It's mostly a garbage pile, or 10 giant rats lair. Classic swarm encounter.
Fun. Any reason to dig through the trash?
Actually, yes. If you brave the filth, you find 3 gems, some coins, and an arrow +2. Decent reward for getting your hands dirty. Literally.
Okay, worth considering. The monastic library, #29. Any lost lore to be found? Sounds like a potential treasure trove of knowledge.
Tragically, most of the books and papers have crumbled to dust over the centuries. The ancient lore is pretty much gone.
Oh, that's a shame.
It is, but hidden on a shelf under some rubbish is an ivory tube worth 50 gold. And inside that is a clerical scroll with useful spells. Cure light wounds, bless, detect magic. So knowledge is still power, just in a more practical, spell-based form.
Nice find. Now, the garden, the fountain, #30. That sounds like one of those wild magic things.
Oh, it's definitely wild. Probably the most unpredictable spot in the monastery. There's a magical fountain, and drinking from it triggers an effect from Table 4, the magic fountain.
Good effects, bad effects.
Both. Could be amazing gain hit points, even permanently increase an ability score, or it could be disastrous lose points from ability scores, paralysis for hours.
Whoa. High risk, high reward. That's a real test of player nerf.
Totally. Do you take the gamble for a potentially huge boost, or play it safe? Classic D&D choice.
Love it. Okay, Ogre Guard Room, #33,
Mm-hmm.
and the Prison of the Neanderthals, #34. Sounds like more opportunities arise here.
Right, the guard room has 2 particularly ugly and meanest ogres locked inside. The key is on the bigger one. But the real reason this room is amazing, hidden in the ogre's trunk is a bag of holding.
No way. A bag of holding this early, that's huge.
It's massive for a low-level party. Suddenly they can carry out way more treasure. It's a game changer.
Incredible find. And the Neanderthals.
In the next room, #34, 4 male Neanderthals are imprisoned by the ogres. They're hostile at first, understandably. But if the party frees them, they become valuable friends, and the whole Neanderthal tribe on the hill becomes grateful.
Another social encounter with real benefits. Allies are always good.
Exactly. Reinforces that diplomacy pays off.
Then we hit the Hobgoblin Supply Room, #35. This sounds strategically important.
Critically important. The door is locked. Key held by the leader in room #38. Inside, provisions for a small army. Dried meat, grain, weapons, armor. Loads of it.
And the module says, this is for...
A planned assault on Guido's fort. This is where the hobgoblins are stockpiling for their big attack. It raises the stakes considerably.
So what should the players do?
Well, they could destroy it all. And if they achieve total destruction, they get a big 200 XP bonus. But here's the brilliant part. The module specifically tells the DM not to tell the players about the bonus.
Really? They have to figure out the strategic value themselves?
Yes. It leaves the decision entirely up to them. Do they realize how important disrupting the supply line is? It rewards player thinking, not just following DM prompts, pure player agency.
That's excellent design. Finally, the Hobgoblin Garrison, #38, and the Dungeon Access Room, #39. the last stop before going down.
Pretty much the final checkpoint in the monastery ruins. Room 38 has 6 hobgoblins, 6 goblins. Some might be sleeping, giving a chance for surprise. The leader here has a shield +1 and boosts morale, making the fight tougher.
And he has the keys.
Yep, keys to the supply room, #35, and, crucially, the key to the dungeon access in room #39. Get past them, get the keys, and you're looking at a stone stairway leading downward into darkness. The adventure is about to go subterranean.
All right, downward into darkness we go.
Yeah.
Dungeon level 1. The hobgoblin stronghold below. We're leaving the ruins behind and entering their main base of operations now.
Exactly. This level is described as the stronghold of the goblins and hobgoblins preparing an army. So the atmosphere changes again. More fortified, more active, definitely more hostile. You'll be running into bugbears, goblins, hobgoblins. This is their derf.
And they fight differently down here, don't they? More organized.
Yeah, the module notes that monsters here automatically attack, and they fight hard until the PCs are beaten or their own morale breaks. But here's the smart tactical bit. If their morale does break, they don't just run away randomly.
Where do they go?
They specifically flee toward room #66 to alert the Hobgoblin King.
Ah, so letting enemies escape can bring bigger trouble down on you later. It creates a very connected feel.
Totally. It makes you think twice about letting runners go. Every fight could escalate. Adds real consequence.
Okay, let's look at some key rooms down here. The Bugbear's sitting room, #40, and their quarters, #42. What's going on there?
The sitting room is predictably dirty, vile-smelling. But there's a neat detail. The goblets on the table look cheap, but if you clean them, they're actually silver, worth 30 gold each. Rewards observant players.
Little hidden gems, or silver in this case.
Right. Then their quarters, #42, are locked. Inside, 3 bugbears are fast asleep, hired from bullying goblins. If the party picks the lock or smashes the door quietly on the first try, they get automatic initiative.
Surprise round. Always nice. Anything good in their room?
1 bugbear has a battle axe +1, and their chest has not just coins, but useful gear like rope and thieves' tools.
Yeah?
Practical rewards beyond just gold.
Always appreciate good gear. And then there's a potential new recruit in prison cell, #43. Cullen Filch. Sounds shifty.
Haha. The name gives it away, doesn't it? He's a hapless thief the bugbears caught. If you free him, he's super grateful, says freedom is reward enough, and offers to join the party.
Okay.
But the module adds, if you leave him alone with valuables, there's no guarantee he won't help himself. It's a great little moral dilemma. Do you trust the potentially useful but thieving NPC? Add some nice role-playing flavor.
Definitely adds complexity.
Yeah.
What about the subterranean stream at #44? Any dangers there besides dampness?
It's a natural cavern, stream running through, guarded by some giant centipedes. But the real hazard is hidden. There's a narrow 60-foot shaft that drops straight down into a water-filled cavern below. Fall in, and it's certain death.
Yikes. A pure environmental trap. Gotta watch your step.
For sure. Demands careful exploration.
Now, the Founder Room, #49, and the Dwarf Cell, #50. This sounds promising for the party.
Very promising. It's a weapon-making operation run by bugbears, using hobgoblins and a captive dwarf as labor. When the party bursts in, the dwarf, who's been a prisoner for nearly a year, immediately joins the fight against his captors.
Awesome. Instant ally.
Yeah, a really satisfying reward for the rescue. He's grateful and immediately helpful in combat. Feels earned.
Love encounters like that. Okay, the Goblin Arena, #51. Sounds grim.
It lives up to the name. Big room, stone columns, and the hardly recognizable bodies of 4 previous adventurers. Definitely grim.
Poor guys. Anything left besides bodies?
Yes, and this is cool. 2 loyal war dogs are still guarding their dead masters. They're starving and underfed. If the party offers them food,
They become friends.
loyal companions. They'll obey commands like kill, stay, fetch, guard. Another great social encounter reward. Plus, the dead adventurers have some gear, short sword +1, ring of protection +1 useful stuff, but pointedly, no monetary treasure emphasizes survival gear over just cash.
That's a good touch. And another supply room, #52. This seems even bigger than the last one.
It is. Massive trove. Provisions to support a good-sized army for several months really underscores the scale of the Hobgoblin's invasion plan.
And same deal with destroying it. Big XP bonus, but the DM doesn't tell you.
Exactly. 400 bonus XP this time for total destruction. Again, completely up to the players to realize the strategic value and act on it. Rewards thinking beyond the immediate fight.
Brilliant. What about the pagan temple at #55? Any divine wrath waiting?
It features that recurring hideous god statue made of pumice this time. It has 2 glittering gems for eyes, worth 300 gold each. Tempting.
But trapped, I bet.
Of course. Try to pry the gems out without a thief disarming the trap, and 4 robber flies are released. Classic D&D reward guarded by a trap requiring specific skills.
Makes thieves feel essential. Now, the lair of the Thule at #60. What is a Thule? Sounds nasty.
It is nasty. It's a creature with paralyzing attacks and regeneration. For a low-level party, that's a serious threat. Can wear them down fast if they're not careful. A real test of their combat tactics and resource management.
Good challenge encounter. And then the trapdoors, #62. These sound dramatic.
Very dramatic. They're 40 feet long, located in the hallway leading to the king's throne room, #66, and they're activated from the throne room. If the king's seat is empty, the weight of 4 characters walking over them causes them to swing open, dropping those characters down a 300-foot chute.
Whoa. Straight down to the next level.
Straight down to dungeon level 2. Minor falling damage, but it's a one-way trip. It instantly splits the party, isolates those who fall, a really sudden, impactful transition.
Brutal. Okay, so before anyone falls, let's talk about the Hall of the Hobgoblin King, #66. The climax of this level. What's the scene?
You burst through huge double doors into a surprisingly festive chamber. Well, festive for hobgoblins. The king is there, and he's tough for this level. 5 hit dice, powerful attack, a real boss fight.
He's not alone, I assume.
Definitely not. 2 bodyguards, 1 has a spear +1, and 6 other hobgoblins. Plus, the king himself wears a ring of fire resistance and gives a morale boost to his troops, makes them harder to break. There's also a kettle of foul, boiling liquid rancid soup adding to the ambience.
Ring of fire resistance. Good to know. And he has keys, right? Important ones.
Crucial ones. On his belt are the keys to the big supply room, #52, and importantly, the keys to the 2 chests in the treasure room, #69. Taking him down is key to getting the big loot.
So, defeat the king, get the keys. What's in his private stash? Bodyguard chamber, #67. King's bedroom, #68. Treasure room, #69.
The bodyguard chamber has a nice jeweled necklace worth 800 dream P. The king's bedroom has tapestries depicting hobgoblin victories. They're shoddy, but still worth 50 dream P each. But the treasure room, #69, is the jackpot.
Hidden, I bet.
Hidden, yeah. And the 2 large chests inside are trapped. Poison needle trap if you try to pick the lock without disarming. Save versus poison or die instantly.
Deadly, so use the key. What's inside?
A lot. Mixed coins, a 5/8 platinum, 230 gold, 170 electrum, 480 silver, 1290 copper. Takes 3 turns just to sort it all, plus 3 potions of healing, 1 potion of invisibility, and a pearl necklace worth 1,000 dream P.
Wow, that's a serious haul. A fitting reward for clearing the stronghold. Okay, so some of the party might have willingly gone down the stairs, or some might have just plummeted through those trapdoors. Either way, welcome to Dungeon Level 2, described as a mass of twisting and turning tunnels. Sounds like a labyrinth.
It absolutely is, and that confusion is baked into the design. If you fell through the trapdoors, you land here, probably stunned and definitely disoriented. The level itself is rough rock walls, 10-foot ceilings, and strangely clean of degree.
Clean, why?
Because of the janitor, a gelatinous cube is constantly roaming, sweeping things up, foreshadowing one of the encounters. But yeah, the main thing is the maze-like structure.
And mapping it is deliberately hard, right?
Oh, incredibly hard. The module tells the DM not to be too specific with directions. Use vague phrases like bends gradually left, and the real kicker. Any markers the party leaves behind, chalk marks, dropped items, they just disappear quickly.
Disappear.
Dragged off by monsters or dissolved by that gelatinous cube. It actively prevents easy mapping. You have to rely on memory, careful description, maybe a dwarf's ability to detect slopes, because there are lots of tunnels crossing over and under each other here. It's a real test of navigation.
Brutal but brilliant design. Forces a different kind of play. What about the things living down here? Different from the hobgoblin level.
Very different. This level is explicitly never traveled by the hobgoblins. So the creatures here are isolated, often crazed and half-starved. They attack desperately, hungrily.
Sounds dangerous.
It is. The module even mentions rats scuttling everywhere. They're the staple food for the other residents, but they never attack the party. Just adds to that atmosphere of desperation. Wandering monsters include piranha birds, robber flies, tholes again, bugbears, ogres, and berserkers.
Berserkers. Okay, that sounds fun. Let's talk encounters. The octagon rooms, #70 and #81, designed to confuse.
Absolutely. They're identical 8-sided rooms. The goal is to make players think they're going in circles, adding to the mapping nightmare. And when you first land in #70 from the chute, you might get jumped by berserkers immediately, possibly while still stunned from the fall. Rough start.
No kidding.
Oh.
What about the ghoul lair at #73? More ghouls.
More ghouls, yeah. Hidden around a corner for an ambush. Classic rank smell. But the interesting part is the treasure hidden in their garbage pile. Platinum pieces, rare. Gold, silver, copper, and a short sword +2 that looks cruddy until you clean it. Rewards searching the gross places.
Always check the garbage pile.
Yeah.
Okay, secret chamber, #74, and secret treasure room, #75. Sounds promising.
Definitely. The chamber, #74, has sturges, those nasty bloodsuckers, living off the rats. They attack eagerly. The real prize is the secret treasure room, #75. 3 locked chests.
What's inside? Good stuff.
Amazing stuff for this level. Coins, valuable silver gold gem items, and potent magical items. Potion of diminution, a vial of poison, 2 potions of healing, a sword +1, plate mail +1, super valuable armor, and another ring of fire resistance. Huge haul if you find it.
Wow, that could really turn the tide for the party.
Yeah.
What about the giant shrews at #76? Sounds unpleasant.
They are. Key things. They always gain initiative on their first attack, so they hit first. And they navigate using bat-like radar, like sonar.
Meaning darkness doesn't bother them.
Exactly. Darkness spells, blindness, useless against them.
Yeah.
You need something like a silent spell to disrupt their radar. Makes you think creatively about tactics.
Clever monster design.
Yeah.
And the owl bear den, #77, an absolute classic D&D creature.
Totally iconic. Its lair is this big dam cave with fresh water. The owl bear itself is jealously possessive. Its attack style is terrifying. It focuses all attacks on one character until they're dead.
Relentless.
And then the module adds grimly. It drags the corpse back to its den. It won't switch targets easily. Makes the fight feel very personal and dangerous.
Yikes. Okay, now for maybe the weirdest, most memorable encounter. The Berserker's Hobble, #78, and Darrywinky III, Emperor of the Lower World. Tell us about this guy.
Haha, it's just fantastic. You find this small group of clearly insane humans. Their leader has declared himself Darrywinky III, Emperor of the Lower World. He wears a tattered purple carpet as a robe and carries a staff and a shield +2.
Emperor of the Open. Okay, so pure role-playing challenge.
Pure role-playing gold. He immediately demands, kneel, peons. How the players react determines everything. If they refuse or mock him, he and his followers attack in a berserk fury.
But if you play along?
If you show proper respect, kneel, address him as emperor. He's mollified, maybe even protective. The module gives a great example. If you tell him the owl bear is in revolt against his empire, he might just lead his subjects off to attack it for you.
Huh. You can trick the Mad Emperor into fighting your battles? That's brilliant.
Isn't it? A perfect example of how social interaction can solve problems in unexpected ways. And there's treasure, too. A locked chest behind his throne with the Empire's treasury coins, though he lost the key ages ago.
Amazing encounter. Okay, back to monsters. The gelatinous janitor, #79.
The classic gelatinous cube. Described here as literally sweeping the corridors, which explains why the level is so clean. And after you defeat it, you find the small bits of treasure it couldn't dissolve. 12 gold, 47 silver. A functional monster with a tiny reward.
Practical. And a pit trap at #82. Standard stuff.
Yep, straightforward 10-foot pit trap. First 2 characters trigger it. Others need dex saves to avoid falling in. Classic dungeon hazard to keep people on their toes.
Always watch where you step.
Yeah.
Lastly, the underground stream at #84. A way out. Or just more water.
It's the only means of escape from level 2, unless you want to try climbing back up that 300-foot chute, which sounds awful.
Yeah, no thanks.
Crucially, the stream area is noted as a safe zone. No wandering monsters. It's a designated spot to rest, recover, maybe use some of those healing potions before tackling the final, most dangerous level, a much-needed breather.
Okay, we've navigated the maze, maybe humored an emperor, survived the cube. Now, level 3. The module calls this the deepest and most deadly, and the place that holds the key to the party's return. Sounds like the final act.
It absolutely is. The environment feels different again, more natural caverns, tunnels formed by volcanoes or water erosion, much more ancient feeling.
Any big geological features?
Yes, a major geological fault line splits the level. The north side is 50 feet lower than the south. This creates cliffs and rock slides that directly impact encounters and movement. Adds a vertical element.
And the wandering monsters get tougher down here, I assume.
Definitely. The list includes lava lizards, kobolds, steam weevils again, giant bats, crab spiders, and piranha birds. A nastier mix designed to wear the party down before the final boss. Resource management becomes even more critical.
Okay, let's hit the key encounters. The landing, #85, and the kobold bridges of death, #87, sounds dramatic.
It's a very memorable setup. This is where you first meet the kobolds on this level. They're guards, but maybe not paying full attention initially, offering a chance for stealth.
And the bridges.
The bridges of death. 2 narrow bridges spanning a massive crevasse, 20 feet wide, 300 feet deep, and at the bottom, a river of molten lava. Fall in, and you are toast. Curtains, as the module puts it.
Oh, high stakes. And the kobolds use this to their advantage.
Oh, yeah. They stand on the far southern ends and throw spears. And if you get hit while on a bridge, you have to make a dexterity save or fall into the lava. Brutal.
Do they call for backup?
Yep, they have a brass horn. Sound the alarm and reinforcements come running from other kobold areas. Turns into a really tough defensive stand for them.
Okay, Chieftain's Council Room, #88. What's the kobold leader like?
Found in modest splendor with 6 bodyguards, probably drinking their lovely fish head beer. The chief has a short sword +2 and wears a belt made of gold and silver coins worth 250 jumpies.
Is that a lot for kobolds?
According to the module, that belt represents all the monetary wealth of the entire tribe, gives you a sense of their scale and resources. A nice bit of world building.
Interesting detail. Now, the Chamber of Darkness, #91. This sounds unique. Utter blackness.
Completely. A strange magical phenomena from an old wizard battle or something. Normal light sources, torches, lanterns, they just wink out if you put them inside. Pitch black?
How do you see?
Only a light spell works, forces reliance on magic or navigating completely blind. But there is stuff in there, a skeleton, a backpack with gear rewarding those who brave the darkness. A really cool, non-standard challenge.
Love that. And more spiders. Crab spider lair, #92, #96.
Yep, hidden among rocks, poisonous bites, more hazards to keep you on edge. Plus, you have environmental obstacles like a cliff, #94, and a rock slide, #97, that require dex checks or group effort to pass. With risks of cave-ins, the level itself keeps fighting you.
Okay, deep breath. The climax, Dragon's Lair, #99. This is it. What's the entrance like?
Huge double doors, locked with an iron bar only a giant or ogre could lift. Or you need the dragon's key, which the dragon has, or you have to smash the doors down.
Tough to get in. And inside,
Yeah.
the dragon itself.
Inside, it's exactly what you'd expect. Smoke, sulfur, bones of past adventurers, a pool of boiling lava filling the room with steam, and the young red dragon.
Zats. How tough is it?
AC2, incredibly hard to hit in basic D&D. 7 hit dice plus bonus hit points, total 30 HP. That's a very formidable foe for a level 1-3 party, especially after everything they've been through. This is designed to be the ultimate challenge, a real boss fight.
Absolutely. And the reward, the dragon's hoard, must be huge.
Immense. 2 chests packed with coins, 1,500 platinum, 2,500 gold, 5,000 silver, 8,000 copper. Plus incredibly valuable gems, one worth 2,000 rupee, one 5,000 rupee, one 10,000 rupee. And jewelry, a 3,000 rupee necklace, a 1,000 rupee bracelet.
Wowza. That's life-changing amounts of treasure for low-level characters.
Absolutely. And there's another hidden treasure room, #100, with 3 more locked chests containing even more coins. It's a truly staggering reward for surviving the horror on the hill.
A fitting end. And the actual escape, exit tunnel, #101.
Yep, a narrow, dark tunnel that winds up and down for a mile. But it leads to the outside world, far from Guido's fort.
Freedom. And far from the scary hill, success.
Exactly. The light at the end of a very long, very dangerous, but ultimately rewarding tunnel. You know, looking back at Horror on the Hill as a whole, it's amazing how much it did for players back then. And part of that was introducing monsters that felt really tied to the specific place.
Right, not just generic goblins and skeletons, though it had those too.
Exactly. Like the piranha bird's a flying threat, but specific, weird. Adds a different dimension to encounters. Or the steam weevils, directly using that geothermal steam theme for burn damage, makes the environment itself part of the monster.
And the lava lizard down in the final level.
Yeah, higher AC, bite and burn damage, perfectly fitting that volcanic final level. It shows a real effort to make the bestiary feel unique and integrated, not just pulled from a generic monster manual.
And that Stranger Things vibe we talked about at the start.
Yeah.
I feel like it really earns that comparison after going through all the details.
I think so too. It's got that perfect mix, doesn't it? The classic hook rumors, missing people, then these unique hazards, the steam, the lava, and this wild variety of threats, ghouls, the dragon, his creepy sisters.
Yeah, Rosabella and Rosalinda are definitely peak Uncanny Valley.
Right. It all creates this atmosphere that's unsettling, mysterious, but also really engaging. That feeling of a seemingly normal place, well, a remote fort in a hill, hiding these extraordinary, dangerous secrets. It nails that kind of wonder mixed with dread.
It really does. And you mentioned it was a great intro module. It seems like it taught players more than just how to swing a sword.
Oh, absolutely. Subtly, it teaches exploration matters. Talking to people matters, like with the sisters or the Neanderthals. It teaches basic puzzle solving, careful resource management with those prices and limited supplies.
Yeah, the logistics felt important.
Very, all woven into this coherent story that ramps up nicely. It wasn't just a dungeon crawl, it was a complete adventuring experience. Foundational stuff for learning how to really play D&D.
And the emphasis on player choice really stands out. It didn't feel like a railroad.
Not at all. Your choices with the sisters had huge consequences. Deciding whether to destroy those hobgoblin supplies was a major strategic decision you had to make. Rescuing the dwarf or the Neanderthals gave you tangible allies because of your actions.
Right, those felt earned.
Exactly. When choices have clear, meaningful effects, rewards, or consequences, players feel invested. That's a core principle of good adventure design that's still totally relevant today. This module understood that back in '83.
So thinking about today, could you run this in, say, 5th edition? Would it still work?
Oh, definitely. The core story, the encounters, the atmosphere, that's all timeless. You'd need to adapt the monster stats, maybe tweak some spell effects or skill checks to fit 5e rules. Morale checks aren't really a thing anymore in the same way.
Right, you'd have to handle monster fleeing differently.
Yeah, maybe based on HP thresholds or role-playing cues. But the structure surface, monastery, 3 distinct dungeon levels, the memorable NPCs, the mix of challenges, that's all solid gold. A modern DM could absolutely convert this and have a fantastic campaign. Its bones are that good.
What about the DM advice in the module itself? That felt different from modern approaches sometimes, like ignoring wandering monsters.
It's fascinating, isn't it? That advice and the bit about not telling players about the XP bonus for the supplies, it shows a certain DM philosophy. Less about guiding players through a specific narrative beat by beat, and more about creating a living world with rules and consequences, and then letting players figure it out.
More hands-off, maybe? Trusting the players more?
Kind of, yeah. More focus on emergent gameplay, letting the story arise from player actions within the established world. It's a style many DMs still love today, even if newer modules sometimes lean towards more structured narratives. It's a valuable perspective from the early days.
So it's not just nostalgia. There are real lessons here.
Absolutely. Modules like Horror on the Hill are studied and played today because they're good. They show the evolution of D&D, sure, but they also remind us of timeless adventure design, the thrill of the unknown, the importance of choice, the tension of managing resources. They were learning tools back then, and honestly, they still are.
Wow, what a fantastic deep dive into Horror on the Hill. You can really see why it's considered such a classic. That blend of adventure, mystery, genuine scares,
Yeah.
it really does capture that special something.
It really does, and it makes you think, doesn't it? In today's world with slick mechanics and complex systems, what are those core timeless things from a module like this? The exploration, the danger, the mystery that still grab us. What makes a D&D experience truly memorable, regardless of the edition? Something to ponder.
Definitely something to ponder. Well, that wraps up our journey into the spooky depths of Module B5. If you enjoyed exploring Horror on the Hill with us, please do us a huge favor. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, maybe share it with your gaming group, and definitely ring that bell so you don't miss our next deep dive.
Yeah, your support really does help us keep doing this. And remember, you can find all our past deep dives, plus the free PDFs, like the one for this module, over on the Triptogram Productions YouTube channel. Lots of great gaming stuff there, music videos too. New D&D World Weavers episodes and PDFs drop every Saturday night.
We genuinely love hearing from you too. Please drop a comment below. Did you ever play Horror on the Hill? What are your memories? Or did we miss a crucial detail you think needs mentioning? Let us know.
And yeah, if there's another RPG, book, module, whatever you'd love for us to cover, tell us in the comments. Or just share your all-time favorite D&D module. We love hearing about those. And before we go, a huge thank you is needed for Ken, our producer.
Oh, absolutely.
He does so much work behind the scenes, finding these documents, making the show happen, giving us great feedback. We couldn't do it without him. And thank you, all our listeners, for tuning in every week. It's fantastic exploring these old D&D gems with you.
It really is.
One last special thanks, too, to all those amazing folks out there who take the time to scan, upload, and preserve these old documents on places like archive.org. Seriously, without them, so much of this gaming history would just be lost. They're doing vital work.
Hear, hear. Well, thanks again for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time for another exploration into the worlds of D&D.